Welcome to the History of North America. I'm Mark Vinette. The Haudenosaunee, also known as the Iroquois Confederacy, warred with First Nations tribes including Wendat Hurons, Algonquins, and Montagnais, long before the arrival of Europeans on the continent. Let's learn more from the Iroquois History and Legends podcast.
Iroquois History and Legends, how they lived, and a story on where the Haudenosaunee Iroquoian people clan system came from, and the importance and how the clans worked.
The clans were needed to be used to console one each other. The clan was a tight-knit member of the family, so if one person in the clan died, all the people in that clan are mourning, and it's really hard to get anything done. If you're grieving the loss of a loved one, you can't go out and farm or hunt. You don't want to do anything, you just want to mourn.
These mourning rituals would take sometimes a couple days just to mourn several people. So if it's your culture to mourn for long periods of time for each person that passes away, how do we hunt and gather and live our day-to-day lives when we're always in mourning?
The proverb of we bear one another's burdens comes to mind. So another clan would go and be able to comfort that clan that was grieving, and then another clan can carry on the work and keep going. So they're all working together and lifting each other up when they're going through this grieving process. And like you said, have you ever had somebody that you care about pass away? You can't just get over it in a couple days. It's a long, drawn-out experience that it takes to go through those motions and cultural things that you need to do to get to a place where you can take a breath and carry on. What did the clan mother, other than appointing somebody as a sachem to sit on the council, did she have any responsibility beyond that? What was she in charge of?
Actually, the clan mother, on top of appointing who the chiefs would be, they also had a very, very long list of responsibilities back in their own clans. For one, the clan mother would actually be the person that would own the longhouse and all the furnishings of it. All the children born in that clan became her responsibility. All the clan lands, she ultimately had the decision on what it would be used. Distributing food, the men would hunt and the women would plant and sow seeds and gather. So that would all come into a kind of communal storage. It would be dried and processed, and then she would distribute it evenly across the board for those that need it. Also, they had the right to nominate sachems, confirm them, and also dispose them if they weren't doing a good job. They also could adopt foreigners and prisoners. If you were a war chief and you went out, you couldn't just steal a woman and say, okay, she's going to be my wife. The clan mother had to approve her to be adopted into your family. They also had the ability to decide who would go to war and who wouldn't. So if a young warrior wanted to go to war, if she didn't think he was mature enough, she could say that he's not going yet. They also had the power to grant life or death to prisoners, and this was very common. Population was so thin back then that it was very common practice where they could grant life to prisoners and adopt them into their families. So you see that all the time. That decision came down to the clan mothers. Also the power to maintain the natural resources. You have 100 or maybe more people living in this area, you're going to deplete the resources around the area relatively quickly. And around every 15, 20 years, they would actually pick up and move the longhouse and build it somewhere else because they believed that a lot of times they'd cleared all the trees around and it was getting too hard to carry the firewood. So they would manage the natural resources, and they would also decide where the burial grounds were going to be.
Why did they view women in such high regard? Why did they view the women as capable of being in charge of this?
A simple explanation on why women and the clan mothers have this important role in their society. Quote, in our society, women are the center of all things natural. We believe He, the Creator, has given women the ability to create. Therefore, it is only natural that the woman be in positions of power to protect this function. We trace our clans through women. A child born into the world assumes the clan's membership of its mother. Our young women were expected to be physically strong.
So pretty much they're viewing it as a woman is the one that grows the child inside her, cares for it, gives birth to it, brings it up, and so why shouldn't the women, who are mothers of us all, be in charge of protecting us from dangers? She's older, wiser, and has fostered all these children, so in their mindset, of course, why wouldn't the women be in charge of everything? There were different amounts of clans in all the different nations. Each clan was represented by a different animal. Some were the wolf, the bear, turtle, snipe, deer, beaver, heron, hawk/eagle, they didn't differentiate, and eel. But not all the tribes had all those, and some just had a few. However, they also had sub-clans, where you might have the red wolf, the gray wolf, and the timber wolf. Or you might have 3 different turtles, a snapping turtle, a mud turtle, a painted turtle. Or you could have a brown bear, a black bear, and a yearling bear clan. So again, the point of the clans is to share grief with one another. When one people is grieving, the other clans can step up and do work or console the people while they're going through the grief process. Especially if you're part of a clan, you're talking about their close relatives. These are cousins, uncles, brothers, sisters, grandparents. You can't marry anybody in your clan. You got to go and marry somebody from a different clan to keep things split up.
Now, say I'm in the bear clan and this lovely lady's in the turtle clan, and we marry. Whose clan do our kids fall under?
Generally speaking, when you get married, the wife takes your name. Not quite so with the Haudenosaunee. You would go and move into your wife's family's house. And so you go over there. Now, you don't change your clan affiliation, so think of it as you still get to keep your last name. However, all of your kids are born into your wife's clan.
The children fall under the care and protection of the clan mother. They have 2 mothers now. They have their immediate mother and then they also have their clan mother.
And aunts and everything else. And actually, they viewed your maternal uncles as more of an influence or just as much as your biological father. If you were part of a clan, it didn't matter which nation you belonged to, they still viewed you as brothers and sisters. So just because you were from the Seneca and you went maybe all the way over to the Mohawk, you couldn't marry somebody from the same clan that you belonged to. They would think of it as incestuous. It makes sense from a sociological aspect because you've got all this crossbreeding. You have people intermarrying with different clans and different nations, and so it's strengthening those ties to allow you to be stronger and have more social networks.
Like we said in the list of the responsibilities of the clan mother, you'd have to go to her for approval for your marriage. And one of the biggest responsibilities was they would research who your spouse was, and they'd want to see some sort of proof that she's from an opposite clan. We need her clan mother to basically vouch for her that she's one of her children before we can set this marriage up.
Now, the other cool thing about clans is, on these longhouses, they had painted signs with the clan picture. So if you were a bear clan, they had a picture of a bear painted on the outside. And why did they have that?
Sometimes you get nations moving over to other brother nations to hunt and fish. And when they would do that, they needed places where they could stay.
Unfortunately, you got a family in every village you go to.
Exactly.
Because they belong to your clan. So you just show up, you walk into the village and, oh, I'm a bear. Oh, there's the bear house. And you just walk in and say hi to everybody, and they give you food and put you up.
Yeah, they'd be required to take care of you and welcome you as if you were a real family.
Because you were in their eyes. So you've got these unified nations, and people are going back and forth and mingling with each other. It really seems like that this was a great way to build relationships.
Also, different clans had different titles and responsibilities in their society. For example, the Turtle clan was known as the Keepers of Knowledge, and they'd have the responsibility with things that have to do with the environment. And the Wolf clan would be known as the Pathfinders, and they had a responsibility to guide people in living their lives the way the Creator intended. And the Bear clan were known as the Keepers of the Medicine. They would be taught generation to generation which herbs to mix.
There are clans that are no longer in existence. The extinct clans, and these clans have not been in existence for a long time. There was the Rock clan, the Ball clan, and the Wild Sweet Potato clan. Now, let's talk about who the Iroquois think should be adopted. War parties go out, they capture people in a raid, and they'll bring them back to the village, and they'll make them literally run a gauntlet. So they'll have all the people in the village set up on 2 rows, and they're there with their fists and their clubs, and they're leading everybody down, and they beat them and make them run a gauntlet. Meanwhile, the clan mother is there judging everything, seeing who they think should be adopted into their tribe. Because sometimes people die from illnesses, somebody's lost a child. This could be a replacement in their eyes of somebody. They could also look to see if they're brave and had a good sense of character about them, and they would respect you for it. But as you were adopted, the interesting thing is they didn't discriminate. They didn't care that you were from another place. And as Europeans get interwoven in the story, we're going to find that French people, English people, Dutch people, American people are going to be captured in raids and taken back and raised. And there's many people that are raised totally in the culture and were considered part of the clan or tribe.
I'm Mark Vinette, and I hope you're enjoying the ride.